Welcome back to the College Football Show. Pending. I'm
Still
your
pending, man.
host, Amal Thompson, and I am with
The Jordan Sutton.
the Jordan Sutton. Dang.
Yeah.
If there's any others, you are but you are not the Jordan Sutton. Huh?
Yeah.
We're quickly approaching college football time, man. It's August 18th. Not to date the pod, but we'll date the pod. The first games are what? August 27th? I feel like we did this last time. But
yeah, we did. I think it's the 27th. For some reason, the only number that keeps coming to my mind is the 29th, and that's because that's the FSU game.
well, I know for sure there's games on the 29th, for sure. But as we quickly approach college football season, we need to talk about these conferences. Who's going to be the leader? Who's going to make a splash? And who's probably going to disappoint a little bit? I know there were a little bit of previews to that in the last pod. Some Ole Miss fans weren't happy about what was said. I apologize in advance.
I'm not even going to talk about them this time.
I think I might be echoing some of those sentiments again. And I think I'm going to upset other fan bases because as we begin with the Big Ten, I think I'm going to upset some Big Teners with this one. My unheralded favorite to win the Big Ten this year, the more I sit down and think about it, is Ohio State. I know. Crazy. Favorites to win it, according to the books. But I think they're going to utilize the freshman receiver that they brought in alongside Jeremiah Smith, Chris Henry Jr. They're going to maximize that duo as much as possible this year.
Yeah, he's going to be a stud.
I think he's going to be. Yeah, we're very excited about obviously what Jeremiah Smith has done. But I think you're going to see that even though they lost Hartline to head coaching job for USF, that they're just still wide receiver turnover every year. Get the new guy, process him through, get him in the system, keep it moving. If anything, it also gives me a little bit more reason to be, I don't want to say critical of Julian Sayin, but I expect his job to be a lot easier this year as well, which is crazy to say. Should have been fairly easy last year with a top 10 NFL drafted receiver, all the defensive players that he had, and Jeremiah Smith. But I think where they're going to reset is shifting off of the mindset that they need to be a very run dominant offense and just go air raid. You have the pieces for it. So I think they're going to allow him to loosen up those muscles a little bit and just pick on whichever DB he decides to pick on with both those receivers on the outside.
Correct me if I'm wrong, because I really think I'm right though.
Okay,
the playoff game, and I really think I'm like 99% sure of this. The playoff game against Miami,
yeah,
Ryan Day was the play caller, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, you can't even really say their last performance was a true Ohio State offense. I'm just trying to think some of the things that we're obviously going to see that are different this year from them compared to last year. I mean, there's going to be some sort of growing pains. They're going to have a new play caller, but their year 2 of Julian Sayin is just, there's a lot of hype around him, I think, and he's got some stud wide receiver that's out of Miami, of course. Mm-hmm. Both of them, because Chris Henry Jr. is also out of Miami, isn't he?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think we were recruiting him too. I think, who was their OC that they signed?
Arthur
Blank?
No, Arthur Smith. Arthur Blank is an owner, I think. But I think it's he was the OC in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, okay.
And he left, for the Steelers, not college.
Another NFL caliber. So
yeah, his game of offensive coordinating, now that I think about it a little bit more though, is definitely predicated on ball control, time of possession, trying to utilize running backs in a unique way. He's not really an air raid guy. But I don't think Ohio State Ohio State doesn't really I don't think Bo Jackson's a bad running back, and they try to address some stuff in the transfer portal.
I don't
But
think he's bad, but I think everyone thinks he's better than what he is, but that's because of who he's
the
coming
shirt
in to
he's wearing,
replace too.
yeah. Um, but when I look at the Ohio State just offensive weapons, the year they won it all, they had 2 NFL level running backs. Clearly,
Mm-hmm.
both guys are, one guy's starting and one guy's vying for a starting position on an NFL roster.
Yeah.
They don't have that current build on the roster right now. I don't think they go deep at the running back position. So I think we need to, I don't know, maybe Arthur Smith is planning to shift off of his style of coaching a little bit with the roster that's currently constructed. I just think when you have two elite receivers of that caliber, you punish secondaries as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a quarterback that you're gearing up to potentially be a Heisman candidate. And there were question marks about his performance last year. You might
Well,
want to silence that a little bit.
when he went up his last performance, because that's what everyone's going to have, that last taste in their mouth. That was a
Isn't that
solid
right, Miami fan?
defense.
Yeah.
That's a solid defense that they went up against. Probably unbiasedly, I could say top 5 in in college football last year. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
But they're my favorite to win the Big Ten.
yeah.
Not to keep harping on it, but who's your favorite?
I also got Ohio State too. But
Mm.
one of the reasons why I geared a lot of my conference champions, and we could talk more about it when we get to the Big 12 if we go there next. All my notes just got deleted, so that's cool. I was looking at that. My new iPhone's been messing up lately. But I looked at their strength of schedule. I looked at who they play for a lot of different teams, but
Mhm.
I think in the Big Ten, you got those 3, used to be just 2 big powerhouses that everyone talks about, Ohio State and Oregon, and then now Indiana. So looking at Ohio State's schedule, their conference games, I mean, they play in Maryland, they play at Indiana, which I don't know if you saw this little neat thing that Indiana's doing, because they have so much demand for all their fans now to come to their games, that even the students can only choose 3 home games to go to.
Yeah, I hate that.
And I think there's a package that one of the home games is the Indiana game, and then one of the home games, or not home games, but
Yeah,
games in
Ohio State.
total. Yeah, Ohio State. Then they play Oregon. So like if you go to the Oregon game, you can't go to the other one. So, or unless you buy a ticket. It's crazy. Indiana fans coming out of the woodworks. But
I just hate that for students though.
yeah, I
Cuz like
agree.
honestly, you believed before anybody else did if you decided to go there. And football is a big part of why you would pick to school, you know?
Yeah, it should be at least. But I mean, you go back 5 years ago, you could throw a party in some of those sections of the
No,
stadium.
for sure. Yeah.
So
And
they play, we'll just go through their schedule. I mean, they play at Texas.
that's a tough game cuz when we go 2 NFL level running backs, time of possession, control the clock, I feel like you're going to Texas with that defense as well. That's a tough one.
And last year was only a 1 possession game.
Mhm.
I think Texas wins that game though.
I do too.
Then they play Kent State, Illinois, at Iowa, and I mean, at Iowa could always be tough. Maryland, just Maryland. Good
I like
quarterback.
hold up. I
Good
like their
quarterback.
quarterback.
Good
I
quarterback.
think he's very poised. I have to look at the rest of the roster a little bit more in detail.
And
That was my dark horse.
and that's
Not
the
to
thing.
jump ahead, but that was my dark horse team.
But that's the thing. I think that's two rosters. You're comparing an NFL roster to a JV league middle school team, probably.
Yeah, but I'm if I'm taking quarterbacks, I know this might be a hot take. I love what I saw out of the freshman last year in comparison to Sayin.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like a guy who could elevate the pieces he has and had him in games, especially like you said, with a JV level roster, and then had the commitment to stay with that team. I loved that. I thought he was going to be out of there. I thought he was going to leave for the bag. He
Yeah.
did not. So
Then they
no,
play at Indiana, at USC. There's a week in between those 2 games, a bye week, and then they go back to the shoe and play Oregon. Then at home against Northwestern, at Nebraska, and then they wrap up, of course, against Michigan. And that one's at the shoe this year. That was a game that I was wanting to go to this year, but there's no way I can get off work for that.
Nah, nah.
But
Based on the industry, nah.
yeah, I think they play a lot of the top dogs in the Big Ten
They,
conference,
they do.
and that's where some teams get lucky and they don't play the big dogs.
That's one of the things I was looking to address too. I was like, even though they're my favorite, they got somewhat of a gauntlet. I don't know who out of all the people that I liked in that conference had the easiest schedule necessarily. Um, I feel like Indiana has a fairly tamed schedule, but then they run through the same thing: Ohio State, Michigan, USC, but they play 2 out of 3 at home. So
Yeah, they play.
yeah,
Indiana plays Ohio State at home at Ann Arbor. That could be a
hmm
loss. And then they play USC at home. So it looks like Indiana doesn't play Oregon this year.
no, they don't, right? And we still have question marks about the Michigan roster. Um,
Yeah.
but to move on past favorites, teams that will underwhelm. Do you have a team that you feel like is going to be in the mix last year, but completely out of the mix this year?
I don't have a team that's going to be like that. My biggest surprise probably is, I mean, it's a question mark because we don't know what they'll end up doing. I've been hearing a lot of hype around their freshman running back is Michigan.
Yeah.
Not Hitler, Hitzer. A lot of hype around him, but I mean that's one of those teams. Just like there's another team in the conference, not conference, but college football that took one roster, moved him to another team. Um, so I truly don't know. Uh, I like Michigan though. I think their quarterback has a lot to live up to, unfortunately, and that's the name of college football these days with NIL.
hmm
But I think Bryce Underwood could be good. I mean, I use him good college football video
he,
game.
he has
Just
the tools in college football.
he just needs to let me be his OC. But I think Michigan could end up being a team that's in the mix this year.
hmm
And then it's not a big surprise, but I don't think Indiana goes undefeated this year.
No, I don't think Indiana goes undefeated. I was going to put them as probably the team that underwhelms this year. Obviously, they won out. Um, and here's my reasoning to that. I love Josh Hoover. Watched a lot of Josh Hoover. Um, I don't know if you could coach out some of those
Turnovers.
turnovers that he's susceptible to.
Yeah.
Right when Indiana got um Mendoza, there was a certain poise about him at Cal. Yes, he had turnovers there, but I feel like he didn't force the issue a lot of times. Like he was composed in his role at the age he was at quarterback, at the experience he had, and you
He
could
played clean football.
he played clean football. Yeah, right.
But
Hoover's been in
he did that before Indiana.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hoover, on the other hand, does not really play clean football,
No.
and almost sometimes feel like he doesn't understand game. I don't want to say game script, but like where we are in the game and what's important and what risks you need to take and where you just need to kind of get out of, the drive safe. He doesn't do that.
Yeah.
He gives the defense a lot of opportunities to get turnovers. And going from Big 12 defenses to Big 10 defenses is a huge jump, a huge advancement, even
Very big.
athletically, off the rip, right?
Very, very
I
big
trust
difference.
Ignetti. I do. But I don't think Hoover to Nick Marsh is going to be the same as what they had last year on offense. I
Yeah.
haven't looked at the running backs they have. Maybe they plan to control the ball that way. I just think you're not going to get some of the same electric plays you got out of our boy who went number 1 overall, Mendoza, as you will out of Hoover. And you'll need that against Ohio State's and that Michigan defense in Michigan, right? So I think they drop a couple. I don't want to say they get left out of the playoffs, but
I don't think they do.
if they drop a couple, it might be an argument. Um, So yeah,
Their
they're my team that's going to underwhelm
their running
this
back
year.
is Turbo Richard.
Where do you come from? Because I know it's a transfer.
He's a transfer, yeah. Boston College, that's what it was.
Okay,
Um,
they pound the ball in Boston, but I'm not overly familiar with this game. When I was looking at a lot of the transfers, honestly, the big name ones went to Texas.
mhm.
The two big ones went to Texas. Texas was like one of the main teams that had legitimate starters, like contributing starters, just shift and go over there, right? And we'll talk about them when the SEC talks come around. But yeah, I think Indiana underwhelms. And then my dark horse to be a little bit better this year, I talked about a little bit earlier, is Maryland. I went and looked at the schedule and it lines up. They play Ohio State, and who else did I see them playing? But they evade like so many of the big teams. They
There's
play
one more
Ohio
team.
State.
Good.
They close the year out with Penn State. They play USC, who they played hard last year with the team they had.
Mhm.
Outside of that, Wisconsin, Purdue, Illinois, Rutgers, which Rutgers has been improving as well. Nebraska, UCLA, Virginia Tech, UConn, Hampton. I legitimately could see this team leave with 9 wins just off
Yeah.
of sheer quarterback play.
Yeah. And talking about schedules, another
Yeah.
team that I forgot to mention is Penn State.
Yeah. They're one too.
Their schedule lines up so in a way that they could end up putting themselves in the conference championship just from winning their easy conference play. They play their Penn State's toughest game is at Michigan
Mm-hmm.
because they don't play Oregon, they don't play Indiana or Ohio State. So their back-to-back games with no bye in between is at home against USC, which could potentially be their whiteout game, and then they go up to Ann Arbor.
My only issue with Penn State is it's not James Franklin anymore. And I don't know what they expect out of the new coaching staff because we get so used to like what James Franklin had there and what he brought them back to that we forget like what they were before.
Yeah.
Like there was a big gap where Penn State stopped being Penn State. We know why. Don't need to go into that discussion, right? But
No.
they got rescinded to pretty much the bottom end of the Big Ten. He brought them back.
Mhm.
So is the base strong enough? Or is his coaching staff gonna, revitalize them and help them win some of those big games? Um, I just rocked with the continuity of Maryland, and again that quarterback.
Mhm.
Obviously, I don't think he can leave this year because he's a sophomore, but I am super excited for what he can be when it's time to start entering NFL draft talks. Because I was very impressed with what I saw last year
Yeah,
out of
I
him.
think he's at a right stage of his career for good reasons. Like you look at the quarterbacks that are potentially coming out after this season,
Yep.
you don't want to be part of that class right now because you're going to be graded against some of the best in a while that we've had.
Yeah.
So by the time that he's ready to come out, he'll probably be one of those top 3 quarterbacks.
Yep. 6'5", 231. Even with the supporting cast that we said is lacking a little bit, positive touchdown to interception ratio.
It's always a
Um,
plus.
yeah, yeah. Has some big bodies that could kind of help make you know not as pinpoint passes a little bit easier to catch, big catch radius. He has a 6'7" receiver, 6'5" receiver out there that they I'm not sure if they had both of them last year, but I'm not even worried about his accuracy. I think even under pressure, he again played extremely well um at such a young age. So Maryland's
Mhm.
my dark horse to potentially contend for top of the conference, but for sure should see a bowl game this year. For sure
Yeah,
should see a bowl game this year.
I
Um,
agree.
let's shift to the Big 12 because I think I want to leave SEC and ACC for the last two.
Mhm.
My Big 12 winner is not Texas Tech. It is also not BYU. I honestly believe that for the Big 12, it could go through Utah.
Utah.
Yeah. If I'm going with not my dark horse, which I'm very, very bought into my dark horse team.
I'm pretty sure your dark horse team, I put them as the winner.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, bump it. I'm gonna do it right now. I'm trying to be like cautious with it, but no, I'm gonna go Oklahoma State. I'm gonna do it. I think Oklahoma State wins it.
But do you have money on them winning it already?
I did. I did. I did have money on it. Um,
So I didn't look at Utah's schedule. So they play Idaho, Arkansas, which is, we already know my conference or
yeah,
confidence in them is.
yeah, not
Utah
high.
State at Iowa State could be rough.
Yeah.
Kansas at home, Colorado, which I have a little thing about them.
Hmm.
Uh, then they play Houston, which there's a lot of people that are high on Houston, I think, because of their schedule.
Yeah.
Cincinnati, BYU, Arizona, TCU, West Virginia. And then just out of sheer confidence of their schedule, it looks like when I'm looking at their Utah Utes.com football schedule 2026, it
They have
has
Big
on their
12 championship game.
yeah.
Smart guys. Smart guys. Top
Yeah.
that top.
Yeah.
Nah, man. So I wanted to ride with Utah, but again, coaching changes is very important, right? I think quarterback Devon Dampier is one of the better quarterbacks in our conference. Extremely electric. I just struggle a little bit with how they'll play defensively now. Um, and not only that, what they have outside of Devon Dampier. While I don't have to worry about that with Oklahoma State. Granted, we haven't seen it on the biggest of stages, but not to be disrespectful to the Big 12, it's very similar to the, the American Conference,
Yeah.
unfortunately. And I've been a big proponent of that, as somebody who used to be a big American Conference guy when we were there, that we weren't far off from that conference. They bring back a very strong core, right? One of the top receivers in the country statistically comes back. Metzenmaker is making everybody's dark horse for Heisman list. The running back is solid. The only thing I worried about is the defense, but we're going to the Big 12, where that is not really a focal point for most teams, right?
As long as you could score last.
Exactly, right? So, like, they play Oregon, they play Houston, they play Iowa State away, but they have Arizona State and Kansas on their resume for the back end of the year. Both those teams are going to be fairly young. Arizona State lost Levitt, obviously, who was in and out of games last year, but they still haven't really solidified their quarterback position, I think. Texas Tech has Will Hammond. We both have opinions on Will Hammond. Um, Kansas State is another team they play. We
Their,
both have opinions on what Avery Johnson will be.
their two
Like,
toughest games are Oregon, which is non-conference, so
yeah,
doesn't affect their conference
does not.
hopes. And then they play at home against Texas Tech late enough in the year that we'll know if Will Hammond is that guy or not.
Correct.
I mean, for as crazy as an idea as it could be, I mean, he could get hurt too. Like,
Yeah.
that's late in the year. We're talking about the week before Thanksgiving, essentially. Well, 2 weeks
And
before
with how he
Thanksgiving.
plays, because he does utilize his legs.
Yeah.
You never know. Even if he is that guy, it doesn't make it through healthy. I don't even think he is that guy. I'd probably prefer him to be there, to be honest. No offense.
Yeah.
I just, again, for the odds, plus 3,000 last time I checked. I don't know if it's adjusted. I think that's way
For
too high for a team bringing in so much veteran presence in the locker room. I'm seeing shades of Indiana, right? Except these guys all had continuity and
yeah.
are coming over to a conference that I think they could compete at. Um, to convince all the guys to come back and come to Oklahoma State instead of, I'm sure Wyatt Young could have gotten an offer to be wide receiver 3 at Ohio State or be wide receiver 3 or 4 at Miami, right? Like, I'm sure offers like
Plus
that were out there for him.
plus 3,000 is correct.
Yeah. Like, but they stayed and decided to try to do something as a unit in another conference. I think that's special. I think the conference is wide open.
They went
Uh,
to the right conference too.
I think they all shifted to the right conference. And for that, even though it's a little bit far fetched according to Vegas, I think they're going to be very successful year one.
Yeah, I
in the
agree.
Big 12.
I
So
agree. So
I'll plant my flag, even though I was struggling to do it. I was worried about the backlash, but you know what? Come get me.
yeah, um, no need to beat a dead horse or a dark horse, but yeah, I got Oklahoma State winning it too. And then the two little surprises I got, just keep an eye on Baylor, which we talked about already off stream. Just depends on, I think what they do week one will set the tone.
If they beat Auburn in week 1, they're gonna put a lot of people on notice.
Yeah. And then it's not necessarily around their team performing or not, but I think with the potential of turnovers with some head coaches this year, Dion is one to watch. If he
Mm.
sticks to his word and stays in Boulder, then good for him, of course. But I think there'll be some tempting openings this year.
I think unfortunately for Colorado though, like they don't get any good press ever.
They get
Like
press no matter
they
what.
get press a lot, but everything that comes out about Colorado, especially in this offseason, has been almost like cartoonish level.
I
Like,
saw you're probably talking about the video I saw recently of a running back or someone doing a drill, and it just looked like it was a middle school kid running around. Like it was a
yeah,
small kid.
it was a small kid. The training videos are rough. Some of the motivational stuff that pops up, people are trying to like motivate him in the locker room. It's kind of off too. Guys telling me that they're finally, running plays in practice, or they're looking at the playbook for the first time in 2 or 3 years. Like that kind of stuff. Like,
Yeah.
even if this is the truth, I don't need to hear it. Like, keep that in house,
Yeah.
right? Um, and granted, the Big 12 is not the most amazing conference in the country, but you got to be prepared.
It's one that's wide open,
Yeah.
and whoever rises to the top or takes the next step in developing their school, like that's who's going to win it.
Yeah, I
They're
think they're going to be way behind the 8 ball, personally,
yeah.
as a performer in the Big 12, which is not a hot take, unfortunately. They haven't really been in the mix since the Shadur and Travis Hunter. And even when Shadur and Travis Hunter were there, they weren't really in the mix. They were just
All
a
their games
factor.
came down to the wire.
Yeah,
Like
they were a factor.
how many bets were we riding in a double
Yeah,
overtime?
yeah. With 2 NFL level talents
Yeah.
plus, right? Because they had NFL level talent receivers um, on the roster, and they couldn't, overshadow a team like, a Colorado State or stuff like that.
Yeah.
No offense to Colorado State, but
But there's no reason why that game should have went down to the wire.
yeah, in Colorado.
Yeah.
Like, either way. Um, Team that I think is going to underproduce this year is,
Texas Tech.
yes, I think the defense is still very expensive. So
Their
the,
team is very expensive.
yeah, the team is very expensive, the defense specifically, but they didn't get some of the guys they expected to hopefully bring in the transfer portal to come help bolster up the wide receiver room. And I think partially that's because of what was happening in the background with Brendan Sorsby. Now that we know what happened there, Cam Coleman dodged a bullet. Apparently, that was one of the last schools he was thinking about heading to.
Yeah.
And then he just decided to stay in Texas. But
Yeah, there was I was watching a podcast actually on my way home from work yesterday, and someone was talking about what's his name? I just had it in my vocal cords too. The head coach of Texas Tech could be on the hot seat because of how much money that they're spending.
they are spending a lot.
And that's one of those programs, like I mentioned in the first episode, that there's programs out there that even though they're still in the mix every year, they want to be in the big game. And if their alumni think that they're spending enough money behind the scenes to get these
They're
players,
spending it.
well, that's oil money out there in Texas.
Yeah, they got the money to spend, but
But
they want some return.
all those schools, like Texas Tech is one of them, that if they're spending all this money, they need to be in the conference championship every year. They need to be in the national championship every year. So their head coach could be on the hot seat. I don't think he needs to be, especially after like this season should be kind of like a free pass, I feel like, for him.
It should. Like, when everything hit the fan, right? It was so late that they couldn't really adjust and find a person to fix the issues in time, right?
They couldn't do anything. Joey McGuire, there it is.
Joey McGuire, yeah. But you look at they lost some of the big talent on the D line specifically to the draft, right?
Mhm.
They lost their heartbeat at linebacker to the draft as well.
to the Dolphins.
Yeah, they obviously lose the guy they spent all the money for at quarterback, and then wasn't able to
They took a
address it.
gamble on the wrong
They took a
quarterback.
gamble on the wrong quarterback. Yeah, they did. Yeah, they
And
did.
he signed there quick too, if I remember correctly.
I mean, honestly, did you think? I'm gonna say it. He probably saw how much he could put in the FanDuel account and was like, let's ride. Like,
Yeah, Hard Rock
there's
wanted him in Miami, I'm
yeah,
sure.
he was right. Oh my gosh. But yeah, I feel like if they could have addressed it, I'm not a Dylan Raiola guy necessarily, but he was improving last year. And you put him in a Big 12 where the defense is a lot more relaxed. He could have been a good fix for them. It was way too late in the season. He stays in Oregon to be the backup. Um, Teron Dickens, who was looking for a school for the longest, couldn't even make that transition. He left where he was at. He left UNC. I think he signed with, I don't even remember who he signed with, but wasn't Texas Tech.
Mm-hmm.
It was too late for them to address that position. They even were going to try to circumvent it in a certain way, like, okay, you come and you do like a graduate program, and then you could be like a walk-on to the football team, and it's not necessarily transfer portal. Like, there are so many angles that they were going to try to take to replace the quarterback. It wasn't possible for them. So yeah, with the lack of leadership, I think, in the linebacker core, and the defensive line not being as strong, and the quarterback play being hyper suspect, I don't think they're going to win the conference. And I think based on how they performed last year, 3 or 4 losses would be a huge fall from grace for that team.
They could not even make the conference championship.
Correct.
Yeah.
Obviously, my dark horse is who I have winning the conference. But if I was supposed to put somebody else out there to have a better performance this year in the conference, I think we go with Baylor.
They need to. Their head coach is depending on it.
Yeah, he needs it. And you go and you get the quarterback, right? Who is looking for a bit of a redemption story. But in terms of talent, he was the number 1 quarterback in his class 2 years ago when he was coming into college. And he had some rough moments in probably one of the toughest conferences in the country.
There's a ton of quarterbacks that are going to be in new environments this year.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to transition to one little quick segment that I saw online earlier.
Yeah.
Actually, it was last night. And it's going to be talking about a quarterback that's in a new environment.
Yeah.
But this is NFL level. Did you see Tua Tagovailoa's performance?
Why are you doing that to yourself?
I'm just, to think that he was my quarterback in Miami. Like,
I don't mean to out you on the pod, but you remember when you used to argue Tua over Herbert consistently?
How many concussions ago was that?
Honestly, I'm wondering if you're talking about for yourself.
Yeah.
I think it was more of just the blindness, the Miami blindness, because you put them both on the field in the same game across from each other, and it's clear who has the higher ceiling.
It's crazy. I'm 1 foot out the door on the Dolphins at this point. And I've spoken about it ever since the offseason when we started offloading the roster. And there's one player that's left, and they do something with him, I'm done. I am completely done.
Look, man, I'm bought in on Malik Willis this year. He looks electric in preseason. I like it.
I think he could be good. It's just that
they didn't give him much pieces around him, which fair.
Yeah.
But how else do you bring Jeremiah Smith home? You got to make it very evident whose wide receiver room it is once you get drafted. I don't think there'll be any questions.
Yeah.
Who's his comp?
Anyways, we're
I love
here
Chris
for
Bell.
We're here for college football. I just had to talk about that because I started thinking, like, looking around the league, like Josh Hoover, Sam Levitt, Darian Mensah, like all these quarterbacks that are in new environments. And I remember Tua Tagovailoa.
You remember Tua is somewhere else too, huh?
Yeah.
You know what's even crazier? He still might win the job. What does that say about Penix at this point in his career?
I think he will. It's just, go ahead and put in your bets on Anthony Pitt's receptions.
Yeah.
Check down Shorty over there.
Yeah, it's not going to be. Yeah. Bijan's probably going to go for 300 targets
a game.
Yeah, it's going to be really good for fantasy if you have Bijan.
Yeah. Anyways, back to college football.
Yeah, talking about quarterbacks in new spots,
Baylor.
Lagway's got to do it
Hmm.
for them. You know, they were a team last year too. That I was holding a Baylor slip and I was sweating every time I was holding a Baylor slip because they were in every game. They just didn't have enough juice at the end of those games. Um, whether it be defensively or a Sawyer Robertson turnover. Um, they lose Trigg. He goes to the NFL. He was a big factor for them. But Baylor's always churned out, good offensive schemes depending on not depending on who's at the wide receiver tight end position. They know how to score the ball.
Yeah.
You're adding a very competent athlete who doesn't necessarily have the most competent decision making skills. And I
Hmm.
think that's where the issue is he will be able to get away with a lot of things in the Big 12. I still worry about once that confidence starts building, some of the choices he'll make when he has the ball in his hands.
Yeah. I'd be curious to see him get matched up with a coach like Kirk Signetti, one
Mm-hmm.
that could teach that discipline. I mean, we clearly saw the discipline with Mendoza, and he already had it coming into that program, but he he orchestrates a very clean game on both sides of the ball.
Yeah,
And if he were to get a mentor, Lagway, if he would have got a mentor like that, it would be very interesting to see where his ceiling could be because we didn't see it in Florida.
nah. And I think if he shows flashes, he'll get an opportunity in the league to get that investment, right?
Yeah.
Because we've seen guys with way less get an opportunity to make a roster and then see where you go from there. There's guys who could coach certain aspects out of you. If you look at what, he just has to have enough in this season to get that opportunity in the league.
The raw talent. That's all he
Not to
needs.
call him Josh Allen, but Josh Allen had a big turnover issue at Wyoming, way smaller school,
Yeah.
but the raw talent was there. The ability to throw the football, some level of accuracy, obviously the body type to run, right?
Hmm.
Like they saw something there and then they invested in him with the right OC and
That
kind
could be
of,
a very good
yeah,
comparison.
yeah. They were able to, at least while that OC was there, coach out some of the turnovers. Now we're seeing the turnovers rear their head again for Josh, but at least in that early stage of his career where you're really setting that base as an NFL quarterback, they were able to rectify some of those issues. And I
Yeah.
think Lagway could, again, if he shows enough at Baylor, could get that opportunity with another team in the NFL because
Yeah.
I think he has NFL level talent.
He does. He does.
Yeah, some of those picks he threw at LSU, only he could throw them with the arm strength he has. So let's turn those into some completions, and we're in the money.
Yeah. That was talking about that game against LSU.
Yeah,
That was the one I went to,
yeah, yeah,
and just a horrible on both teams, both sides of the field,
yeah.
offensive performance, just horrible.
Hmm. Terrible, terrible, terrible.
Yeah.
But talking about LSU and UF, and let's go
Nah,
SSU.
let's save them for last because I don't have much for ACC, as you
You
can
don't
imagine.
because why would you not have much?
Because there shouldn't be much. I'll just say
Ah,
that there should
okay,
not be
okay,
much.
all right.
And 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 I know all the years that I've known you, I've always talked about it. I hyped it up and everything, but this
It's been
is
years.
this is the
This is
year.
the year.
This this
Oh,
has to be the year. Clearly, I'll start it off. ACC Miami is hands down the favorite.
yeah.
However, I will say that there are some sleepers.
Okay.
We still should win it, but the teams that you got to keep on your radar, of course, are SMU, Kevin Jennings, Rhett
Hmm.
Lashley, great coach. Um, NC State, a lot of talent coming from Miami up to NC State.
Hmm.
I think that they'll be a very fun team to watch offensively. CJ Bailey and Josiah Trader, great connection coming back from their high school days.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can't. There's nothing you can compare that to when you have a high school quarterback and wide receiver connection like that. Um, and then Louisville. I think Louisville is always a team you got to watch for. I love their running back. If Mark Fletcher wouldn't have gone to the league, I would have loved to see him down in Miami, and I think there would have been a great chance for him to come down there. But I mean, every running back in the room came back, so there was just no openings for him. But Miami, hands down winner. I don't have much else to say about the ACC.
Miami should win. I know you're giving sleepers, but Miami should win.
Yeah.
Teams I could see taking a step back. Clemson, and that they took a step back last year. I can see being a further step back. Realistically, though, Pitt, I think Heichel's pretty good, but
I don't think that's a team that's taken that step yet.
yeah, they've been in the mix. Like, didn't they go to a conference championship game 2 years ago?
Yeah.
So, like, I could see them, easing back even further out of the picture a little bit. The teams I'm excited to watch this year: Syracuse. Angeli's really good.
Hate that coach.
He tore his leg up.
I'll never watch
I
them
know
play.
Fran gets under people's skin a little bit, but I think Fran is actually a pretty good coach. I think with a healthy QB, with a lot of these guys who are young, second year, coming back, and they added Amari Odom. So if there is some question about Angeli's leg, Amari Odom played really well in Conference USA, I think it was last year. For Kennesaw State, if I'm not mistaken. He's an athlete at the quarterback position. I think what happened last year is once Angeli went down, you had no quarterback. They tried to find that guy over and over again, and they could not move the ball. They had solid defensive performances down the stretch. They had good running back performances down the stretch. They could not get a quarterback who couldn't turn the ball over. So with the addition of Amari Odom, and they added a 5-star that's been bouncing around from conference to conference, team to team, Malachi Nelson, maybe he'll be able to figure it out there, right? But in all actuality, this is Angeli's team as long as he's healthy. I'm supporting Demetrius Samuel on that team still. It looks like he's going to be predominantly on the defensive side, but he was supposed to be doing the Travis Hunter thing. He did a little bit of it last year, but I think they really realized that he showed out at the quarterback position, especially later in the year. So I think he'll be a factor this year as well. But yeah, I like Syracuse to win more games than they're projected to win. It is all it's all based on how healthy Angeli is coming back off the injury. But I don't really have much outside of that.
Because it's Miami's conference.
Because it should be. And I know we've been saying it for years, but
so looking at
if it's not this year, what year is it? Like, what's happened? You know what I mean?
Looking at the ACC, obviously Miami is a clear favorite. But what I just scrolled to see was pretty interesting. The two teams that were in the championship last year are Virginia, obviously, and Duke. And Virginia is plus 2,000.
Yeah.
And then Duke is plus 7,500.
Well,
the turnover there, of course. But yeah.
Yeah.
But that just goes to show you that the ACC was screwed up to begin with. That whole tiebreaker scenario should never have been the case.
You should have never been in a tiebreaker.
We shouldn't have been. That's absolutely true.
That's my issue with Miami is like, we shouldn't even be to the point where we're deciding, okay, if we win by this many points, or no, you should have. The conference is yours, right? And we fall into that rut again this year. You are the team, right?
It's the month of November.
Sidebar, FSU apparently thinks you're going to be good. I'm not here to even throw more dirt on the FSU schedule, but allegedly
FSU thinks that they're going to be good.
Everywhere I see online, FSU's talking about bowl game plus numbers, and maybe I haven't looked at the roster well enough. Deuce Robinson's good.
Mike Norvell lasting the season should be plus numbers.
I don't know. But I still think they're not going to be a factor in the ACC, just to reinforce that, since we're talking ACC chatter. But yeah, man, I digress when it comes to the ACC. Like, it should be Miami. It's minus money for them to win the conference. Mm-hmm. They're one of the few teams, even with Ohio State and the talent they have, they're plus money for the Big Ten. Like, for you guys to be unheralded favorites for the ACC means something. Now, am I taking that bet? Heck no. but you guys should win it.
I
You
think
should,
I've also looked every day for like the last week to see if Hard Rock has posted up their Heisman bets again, and they still haven't.
because you're
But
waiting for Mensa.
as soon as I see it, I'm throwing some little change on Mensa.
Yeah, I think they dropped a list of quarterbacks that needed to be kept an eye on. Still don't know what you meant by that article. I think it was Bleacher Report. It's like top 20 quarterbacks to keep an eye on, and it was like the Josh Hoovers and the Mensahs and some of the transfers, but it was also like Sayin and obviously like Arch. Now I don't know if it was like keep an eye on them because they're going to be good. Keep an eye on them because they're going to affect their team's success quite a bit if they're good or bad. Keep an eye on them because they might lose their job. It was just very vague,
Yeah,
right? But
it was
like,
Bleacher Report. Now that I'm thinking about
yeah.
it, yeah,
And I agree. We do need to keep an eye on these quarterbacks. But if I'm going to make it a lot more tailored to what I think we should be watching, it is how they impact their teams, especially the transfers,
yeah.
right? And if we're going Arch, which will go to the SEC soon,
I feel
they
bad
built
for the
everything
kid.
around him. They built everything around him this year, right?
I feel so bad for him because he's already got enough hype coming in just because of the name that's on the back of his jersey,
Yeah.
and then everyone else talking about it. It's just that's a kid that'll never have a normal life.
Heavy is the guy who wears the crown, man.
Mm-hmm.
Heavy is the shoulders of the guy who wears the crown. And it sucks from like a development standpoint because he doesn't even get that opportunity to really do that. He's been in the mix since, he's supposed to come and sit behind Quinn Ewers and it's supposed to be quiet. Quinn Ewers gets hurt. He's forced to go out there. Even before that, people are calling for him to take that guy's job when he was very successful as a college quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So it already doesn't start on a good note. Um, he's still developing. Like he has raw tools, but people expect him to be further along because of his family heritage.
He's got a ton of talent around him this year.
They stacked the deck for Texas's offense.
Yeah.
They
So
don't have to utilize him that much.
we can close the book on the ACC, Miami,
Yeah,
hands down.
yeah.
So SEC now.
Mm-hmm. I think Texas should win it. I do. But I think this is very telling because in prior years, especially last year, the top two for the SEC were like plus 160 and then like plus 250.
Mm-hmm.
It is, I think, plus 300 or plus 250 for all the like favorites, quote unquote, up at the top.
So it's Georgia plus 275.
Yeah.
Texas 325.
Yeah.
Alabama 850. I don't think they should be number 3.
No, I think you could sneak Texas A&M into that number 3 spot. I think you could put LSU
Oklahoma
into that
I
number
think.
3 spot. I think Oklahoma is a fun dark horse. That's the one I was going to probably pick for my dark horse because, that healthy material, that offense should be operating a little bit better. A guy coaching for his job. I think they're a fun dark horse to look at. Ole Miss, for all the Ole Miss fans that were on us, I
Told you I'm not
think
talking about them this year.
continuity and if what you guys are saying is true, where Kwan is going to take on a lot of the brunt of the offense and Trinidad is okay because the offensive coordinator situation is still there. Cool. But I think even they should be higher on the list than Alabama.
Well, I'll talk about Ole Miss in one sense. I got their schedule
Yeah.
right here in front of me. And that first week game is a fun game to bet on against Louisville, neutral site.
Over.
For sure.
Take the over.
And let me look at my bets because I had like a bonus bet or something, so I bet on that game already.
Yeah, you did. I think you took Louisville.
I did take Louisville to win outright, plus 195. So why not? It was a bonus bet. So for those Ole Miss fans, I just did it for the fun.
The fun.
I truly don't. I could see either team winning that game still. But their schedule, they got Louisville, neutral site. Then they play at home against Charlotte, at home against LSU. That'll be a very fun game.
That'll be a big one. Yeah.
Then they go to Florida, who is my dark horse, Florida.
No, for sure.
Bye week. Then at Vanderbilt, Missouri at home, at Texas, Auburn at home, Georgia at home, at Oklahoma. So I think this is a good example of kind of split hard games at home, good games on the road. I mean,
at Texas is tough. At Oklahoma is tough.
At Florida is tough,
At Florida, it's tough
but you got
because
LSU at home, Auburn at
yeah,
home, and Georgia at home. So I
yeah.
think that's pretty split.
I think the odds are very accurate in the fact that there are a lot of teams. The SEC is fairly wide open between like 6 teams, 6 or 7 teams. You could argue,
Yeah.
right? I think if I'm supposed to pick an unheralded favorite, it's a tough spot right now for me to pick. I think Georgia has the right to be up there just based on their continuity, but I do question their ability to control the trenches like they have in prior years. I feel like they've been, not being had on defense necessarily, but hasn't been the Georgia defense of old, especially the last couple of years. Teams have been able to score on them,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I think Gunnar Stockton's ceiling is not low,
I don't
but
think it's as high as everyone has
I
it.
don't think it's as high as people think it is, and I don't think you have necessarily you don't have the receivers to elevate him necessarily either.
Mm.
Georgia's never been that team. They've been, again, control the trenches, utilize the running backs, a stable running back, sometimes 3 NFL caliber running backs in the backfield, and you just rotate those guys all year, all game, and you
Control
always
the
have a
line of
fresh set of legs
scrimmage.
on there. Yeah, I don't see them as that type of team anymore. So I wouldn't really take them as the unheralded favorites to win it. I'm probably leaning with Texas because of the money spent on offense, the defense. They have the ability to control the trenches right now. They have 2 running backs that they could keep fresh. I think Hollywood Brown is electric. If I had to pick between the 2 backs, I'm taking Hollywood Brown, but Raleek is really good as well. Cam Coleman, Wingo, like there
Talent.
there's
That's just
talent
talent.
everywhere. There's
Yeah.
a clip of Cam Coleman reaching way back and snagging it over the middle. I would like to draw attention that shows me that the pass was not accurate. And in a regular game, he's probably going to get killed trying to make that catch.
The pass also is deflected at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, which is also not a good tell.
Yeah.
But you surround Arch with all these pieces, and Arch is good with his legs. Even in the struggles that he's had, he's operated in the pocket very well. I've been watching a lot of video, a lot of film. There's Max Brown, who used to be a college quarterback. He does a lot of film review for QBs,
But
and he
if
shows some pretty good things.
if he has to win the game on his feet, that's a big, big, big problem for Texas. With the money that they've spent on the outsides
Yeah.
and comparing him to some of the other SEC quarterbacks that can win the game on their feet, Trinidad
Yes.
Chambliss is one of them.
Yeah.
Sam Levitt can run.
Yeah.
Byron Brown can run. I know he's new to the SEC, so he's going to take some big licks this year, but
Yeah.
And then what's his name? Marcel Reed.
Oh yeah. Probably the best pure runner
Yeah.
at quarterback in the conference. Yeah.
John Mateer. So if you're winning the game on your feet in Texas, there's big problems.
The thing I think again that they have the advantage at is just positional advantage at a lot of spots, right?
Mm-hmm. Or should be. On paper they are.
On paper they are. The game still has to be played.
Yeah.
But I think they did a good job of, again, not necessarily hiding Arch, but getting the right pieces to where he's not asked to put as much on his shoulders to make them win. And that's why they're my favorite to win the SEC at plus 325, which I think is pretty good odds for Texas.
I think week 2 is going to answer a lot of questions about Ohio State and Texas.
100%. I mean, we talk about Texas not being who they should have been last year, and they were a possession out of that game against Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was a future tell for what the season would be because neither team are really of caliber to win a national championship, so neither team won one, right?
Yeah.
We'll see where Julian Sayin is, I think, as a quarterback in a tough environment with the tough defense, how he operates, because he's going to pretty much get what Arch got dropped into, which is a very harsh environment to try to elevate the people around him to win the game.
Wasn't that week 1 last year for them?
Yeah.
So week 1, Arch Manning at Ohio State. That's a tough game to win. Your first college football game too.
And he started first overall start because he played a couple behind Ewers, but then the first big year where you're going into it as a starter, that's a tough ask. Right. And he had some throws that he short armed, and there was clearly some nerves there. And it was on him.
They got a tune-up game this year, though. They got Texas State and then Ohio State, and both are at home.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's definitely going to be a game. And
I think
I
we'll find out a lot about him,
yeah, I'm probably
which
going to end up putting money on Texas to win that.
I would be surprised if Texas didn't win it, honestly.
Yeah.
Um, teams that will underwhelm.
Don't say it. Ole Miss.
I shouldn't say it though, because they don't like when I say it.
Well, it's good for clicks anyway.
Look, man, I'm really trying to be impartial and not like brag on a team, but when I look at the other teams, Ole Miss performed really well. I think Texas A&M kept enough pieces that they're not really gonna fall off a cliff this year. Um, they could, I guess. I mean, if I'm gonna throw somebody else into the mix, I could see them underperforming from what they did last year. I think they lose more than one game. Isn't that all that they lost last year?
Ole Miss.
No, Texas A&M. Or they're a one-loss team
Mm,
or a two-loss team.
2-loss team,
Okay.
I think.
They are just very expensive on the defensive side of the ball too. Like they have pieces, and I think a lot of those guys came back. Um, I would say South Carolina, but they already underperformed last year.
Yeah, and
So how much
as we were
lower can
talking
you
about,
go?
they lost 2 wide receivers this week.
Exactly. So like, it's not that I think Ole Miss is a terrible team. It's just it's hard to get back to those levels of production in back-to-back years when I feel like you're losing a lot of your juice.
Texas A&M was a 1-loss team.
So I think they'll take a step back. I think they lose more than one games this year. Uh, but if I'm being realistic on who I think is actually going to be like a bigger step back is probably Ole Miss. Um, and then my dark horse for the conference,
Florida.
I'm worried about the quarterback play, but honestly, the way that coach coaches, Jaden Baugh could run them
So
all
they
the way
play
to success.
their conference games. We'll just talk about their conference games. They play at Auburn.
Yeah,
I don't know what to think right now of Auburn.
it's hard to
Um,
tell.
I don't think anyone will know what to say about them until they get some conference games. Not even just games, but conference games.
Yeah,
Because to jump into the SEC, that's like
with an
jumping
ACC
into
roster, with the
that's like
AAC
going
roster, yeah,
that's like going from a kiddie pool to the Atlantic Ocean with a
yeah,
Category 5 hurricane coming towards you.
it's very
So
different.
they play at Auburn, Ole Miss at home, at Missouri, South Carolina at home, at Texas. Then they play the Georgia game, which is a neutral site, but it really won't be a neutral site because it's in Atlanta this year. Oklahoma, Kentucky, at Kentucky, and then Vanderbilt at home too. That's a kind of tough SEC schedule. I think any SEC schedule is pretty tough, honestly, though.
Right now, yeah, a lot of teams are in the mix. I do think, again, to be able to convince Ball to stay, because it seemed like Ball was out the door.
Should have been.
It seemed like Ohio State came knocking, which would have been insane, right? But I think Ball saw what he did at Tulane and how he utilized his running backs there,
Yeah.
right? And the success they were able to have, and when he came and invested in them, it was important. Now, quarterback plays a huge question mark. Again, I think we talked about it in the first pod. We were so willing to get DJ Lagway out the door. What did we replace him with?
Aaron
Aaron
Filo.
Philo, which was a backup at Georgia Tech. And he's, both guys have been having question marks in camp as quarterbacks.
Yeah, I think they'll be able to win some games just by running the ball.
That's the plan, I think, is to utilize that game. And maybe the passing game isn't going to be anything that calls for a lot of deep throws, even though they have talented wide receivers. I just feel like I'm very dependent on how well the quarterback is going to play when I take on teams to be dark horses, especially in the SEC where all the athletes are so good that you're going to need something to put you over the top. I think playing the tougher games at home is important. I think their defense is still pretty solid. I think the coaching is going to be much improved. I just worry about that quarterback play. I have to see a little bit in those first 4 or 5 games, especially with ball security, to decide, okay, cool, they're in the mix. I
Yeah.
would lean more with Oklahoma, which is ironic to say.
I don't really think that's a dark horse though, because I think they just got to live up to what they can do.
I think it's more so because people are not really equating injury with why Mateer underperformed last year.
Mm-hmm.
As a quarterback, to play the quarterback position with pretty much your throwing hand beat to pieces,
If he did not get hurt, he would have won the Heisman.
you think?
He was the clear
He was
number
electric.
one
Yeah.
at that time with his injury, and then I think he missed 2-3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, he was number one to win it.
Yeah. So you bring him back. He looks like he's been hitting the weight room. That makes me think he's going to be running a lot again
Yeah.
in Oklahoma. But you just looked at odds. They're not in the top 3.
Mm-mm.
Are they even in the top 5?
Which is crazy. They are not in the top 5. They're just outside the top 5.
What's their odds?
1,000. But
Do both
I wouldn't.
championships stay in Oklahoma?
I would not have Alabama in the top 5, nor would I have had Texas A&M. I would have had Oklahoma in there over both of those teams.
Maybe you might be onto something.
Who did I pick for another bonus bet? I picked Georgia, but I got a ticket with Georgia, and I think I got a ticket for LSU as well.
Mm-hmm. Which I think LSU obviously has to be in the mix again with the money they spent bringing in Lane.
I'll tell you after week 1 when I'm there.
Bringing in a lot of good wide receiver prospects. I think Jace Brown from Kansas State is one of the best additions they had in that wide receiver room. Like, he's a very durable receiver. Kind of bring your lunch pail and just go to work type of receiver. He played that role for Kansas State a lot, where they just moved him around the formation. Always was getting his hands on the ball. Good yards after catch. Will be an easy completion guy for Sam Levitt, especially early in the season. They bring back obviously the big tight end, Trudez Green. I think
Yep.
I'm waiting for him to develop a little bit more because it's fun. He's a big body. You use him in the red zone. It's insane, but like, I need that next step, especially with the measurables that you have.
I think the offensive mind of Lane Kiffin will enable that, and he'll open it up. I think the offensive game for LSU is going to be very fun to watch this year because they clearly underperformed last year.
Yeah.
And I think if they can live up to the hype, it's going to be a very fun year in Baton Rouge.
I'm very concerned about just defense, though. Like, a lot of Lane Kiffin teams, especially those first couple of years, they struggle out the gate on that side. And this might be a match made in hell, not a match made in heaven, where you have LSU, who also has been struggling on defense for so many years. And then you bring in a guy. I mean, they added Ed Orgeron, which even though Ed Orgeron teams weren't necessarily elite defensively, they had good defensive pieces individually to maybe shore that up a little bit more. But I guess you could go into the SEC and try to outscore everyone.
That's a tough game to play because every other team besides you then is pretty strong on defense.
No, 100%. Like, that's how Ole Miss really took that step last year, was the defense finally aligned with what they could do on offense, and they were able to stop some teams. So
yeah,
that'll be very telling. You'll be there week 1 to see how that defense performs, especially.
Yeah,
because they play who? Clemson, right?
Clemson week 1.
I don't know how much of a test that will be.
I don't think it would be much of a test, but I think you'll still be able to see some key performers.
No, 100%. I'm definitely taking LSU to win, I think, though, comfortably for that one.
I think they're favored heavily, not heavily, but not.
If it's not heavily, I will probably be taking them to win heavily. But yeah, I think this is one of the few years where we'll come back and by like week 5, week 6, the SEC will still be far from decided.
Yeah, that's 9.5 point favorite.
That's pretty heavily.
Yeah,
that's pretty heavily.
I thought it was 6.5, but yeah, 9.5.
If I decide to go safer, bring it down to 6.5. But
you can't flex it right now.
No,
It's too
not
far
yet,
out.
but we're getting close. We're getting close. Um, and that's it. I think we covered all the big conferences, man.
Yeah, we got, just to recap it, Big Ten. We both agreed on Ohio State.
Yeah.
SEC, I had Texas. You had Texas too? No. SEC, I guess with mine, I had Georgia for my money slip.
I'm going with Texas.
Texas. ACC, we agreed on. And Big 12, we agreed on.
To agree on Oklahoma State is kind of crazy, though.
You're the one that sold me on them, and then I just moved all my chips in on them. So
I just look. I'm okay being wrong on it. I just look at returning pieces and how well they performed, and I love that I'm a part of the Big 12 as a fan now, right? But I also could see writing on the wall.
yeah,
It's not an overly competitive conference defensively. So if they come in with good offensive pieces, they could have an electric beginning year. Indiana did it. Why can't they, right?
why not us?
Exactly.
But that's crazy that we agreed on 3 of the 4.
Mm-hmm. Maybe that means something.
Put your money on it.
I'm not putting Miami on any slip. I'm sorry. I'm not going to hit plus 3,000 on Oklahoma State and end up watching a Virginia Tech versus what's it called? West Virginia ACC championship game. I would be the most livid person on the planet if I hit a plus 3,000 and lose because of minus 140. Not happening. But we could talk Oklahoma State, Oklahoma slip. That would be a fun one to watch.
What would that? Let's just for
That
the
would be
last thing.
insane.
Just for the
Is what that would be.
last little segment, let's see what that reaches. SEC, Oklahoma, Big 12, Oklahoma State. All right, so if you put $20 on that, you're walking away with $6,800.
Welcome back, college football.
All right, now what happens if you add Miami in there?
Stop it.
20 to win 11K.
I'll probably just put Texas in there and go to sleep happy instead of putting Miami. I'm not sweating Miami for the whole year. I'm better off just waiting and then like betting on them in the championship game at minus 140 than like sweating the whole season and hoping they get there.
I'll be putting money in on it.
I mean, yeah, it's your boys, right? And I'm definitely taking UCF's win total over by itself on a normal slip because I think my boys are going to be a lot better this year. They did not make it into the dark horse talks. We're not there yet. I think Alonzo Barnett is fun. I think we have a lot of young pieces on offense. The defense is singing apparently in off season, but I don't think we're there yet.
It's a conference. It's wide open.
It is.
Someone
and maybe
just
I'll
has to
come back
step
after
up.
week 1. And if we have a good week 1 performance, I might drink the juice. I might drink the Kool-Aid.
But it's at least good to know that we are 2 weeks away from football. Not even.
Yeah, it's much needed. I'm ready. I'm ready to be back.
Hard Rock is about to overload. I can tell you that.
And we'll be here to talk about it.
Yes.
Thank y'all for tuning in to the second episode of the CFB show.
Yet to be named.
TBD for the name. We'll be back to discuss Heisman favorites. Probably rankings as well, because they're starting to drop preseason top 25 rankings. And maybe a couple previews for week 1 of college football games we like, games that we think are probably mispriced, games that we have as locks, and then we'll start giving you those week to week. So hopefully you guys can start attacking the books too, or seeing how bad we do. Either way.
Yeah.
Any closing thoughts, sir?
No, hopefully the other way.
Hopefully the other way.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.
Later.
He said